Can people appear out of nowhere? Do video cameras sometimes capture glitches in the matrix? People share glimpses of realities beyond our own in viral videos all the time. But the biggest question is, how do we know if it's real or fake? Most channels, they speculate endlessly on these topics, but that's where Metaphysical comes in. We can combine investigative research with remote viewing data in an attempt to figure out what's really going on once and for all, instead of just sharing sensational things. So without further ado, we're about to debunk the fakery and even uncover maybe the most shocking, real information I've ever heard John go over about the Queen's death. We'll also dive into disappearing people, legs with no body, and more. Join us, Rob Counts and John Vivanco, for a metaphysical debunkathon that's out of this world.
Are you listening to this metaphysical podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or anywhere else? That 5-star rating and review really helps us, and we really appreciate it. Remember, you've got to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you are watching this.
John, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I'm about to torture you a little bit more with some of these viral videos. These first two videos we're going to show together supposedly show people actually portaling into existence right on camera. Let's see if they're real. So we'll watch both of these similar type videos, and then we can discuss to see what's going on.
Did this man just teleport himself? It looks like he did.
AI voice.
A video posted online shows a man appearing on the street out of nowhere and casually continuing his journey like nothing special happened. However, it's not clear whether the incident is the result of a video glitch or an edit.
Okay, there doesn't seem to be much of a glitch there. We have the people movement in the background, right?
He comes from the left, though. You can see a shadow around that sign pole.
No.
Like earlier, yeah. Before the sign pole. There's like a slight perturbation in the video. So.
A little bit, but it's so not really. Look, did you see how smooth that was?
Look at the other people. Did the other people
okay, go back.
their minds?
Go back a little, Lindsay. Let's look at that again. Because that guy in pink in front of him doesn't really glitch out.
No, it's not. Yeah, are we supposed to talk about this now or no?
Hold on. We're just looking at. Back.
Look at. Okay.
I don't want to see the close up. Go back to where you can see everyone. Yeah. Yeah, they don't look like they glitch out, John.
Okay. If you're walking down the street and all of a sudden a man appears out of nowhere, how many people are there like walking towards that are in the eye visions?
They would have freaked out.
They would have gone, wow, that man just appeared out. They would have gone, Somebody would have been like going like that for one thing, right?
Okay, watch the other video now. Let's watch the other video and then we'll talk about both of these. Okay, this one's pretty interesting. Actually, maybe even more interesting.
I noticed in this video, there was this guy walking in front of my house. He seems to pop up out of nowhere. I'll rewind it. No, hold on. So anyways, this is the other view.
No, this is the other view.
The guy walks in front of my house.
So 2 views.
And he seems to be quite nervous when he keeps turning around. And this, again, same date, same time. Dang it.
Oh, that's...
And he seems really nervous. And he keeps looking back.
Huh.
And this is a guy that came out of nowhere.
Two angles came
There's
out of
not a
nowhere in both
glitch
of
in
those
my
cameras.
thing. Camera doesn't jump forward or anything. It's just crazy. It doesn't explain where he comes from. He just comes out of nowhere. I watched the thing for 15 minutes prior to where he pops out, and there's nowhere where he walks in front of anywhere.
That one, I think, is a lot more interesting than the first one, where the guy appears behind the street sign. Just because there's two angles, right? I know that those security cameras are famous for low frame rate, like basically taking several images. It's almost like it's constantly taking photos rather than it's like trying to show you film.
Yeah, they're a mess, really, when it comes to this stuff. They're a mess.
So, all right, let's talk about these now. Yeah, no one was pointing at the guy when he appears out of nowhere, so that definitely is strange. I did not see any. It was very smooth. Everyone's walking was very smooth in that video, and we didn't see him appear in the frame before appearing behind that street sign. So, what's your take on that one, John?
Well, when if you look very closely, he does seem to appear out of nowhere behind that street sign pole area, but right before that happens, there is this just little blip shadow, as if he's walking down the street and it didn't capture him, or somebody masked it out, right? So, and okay, so for one thing, like security cameras, like we said before, are just notorious. There's so many things about security cameras. You've got bit rate, you've got IP issues, you've got
Streaming issues, whatever.
frame rate, yeah, all the streaming issues. If you don't set up the camera properly, it's just going to be glitching all the time. They're very famous for just having strange things happen to them. That doesn't mean that, things don't appear on them, because things will appear on camera that are paranormal, just because of the broader spectrum that cameras pick up as opposed to our eyes. That one appeared to be just somebody masked it. Somebody's messing around. Somebody masked that subject out. And then, I think when people watch these videos, they need to have a lot of discernment, and they need to look at the environment closely. They need to think about it a little bit, rather than just immediately positing it as somebody just came through a portal on the street, right? Look for the other things, because most likely, no, that didn't happen. And no, it didn't happen. Somebody's
I have
just
seen
messing
some
around.
videos where people have appeared and they freaked out. Like people around them have freaked out,
Right.
but I've often thought those look more staged, Hollywood set staged.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So this security footage where the guy appears in the black and white on the fellow's property across the street or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and then he's looking back.
Right.
What was your take on that one?
Well, again, okay, so immediately when I saw that the first video that we looked at of that subject, I saw the telltale signs of blocky pixelation that tell me that this is a camera issue or a network issue. So they've got two cameras, right? And it also appears in the other camera,
Same exact time.
but it's on the same network.
Correct.
When
Same
you
network.
have a blocky pixel thing happening, that tells you right there's a bit rate, there's bandwidth, there's an IP issue, right? That's what it tells you. And you got big blocky pixels happening as the subject is first coming into it. So this is just, again, another,
Another non-glitch in the matrix. We live in a world where the uncut lemon is the only potential video lead we have so far of a mystery, and even that is pretty fragile. Not a solid glitch. Okay, if you missed our first episode on glitches in the matrix, there was a woman and she's slicing a lemon in a restaurant. She walks away to get a bag to put it in, and when she comes back, the lemon mysteriously wasn't cut anymore. Now, that potential glitch in the Matrix was caught on camera, so you can watch that episode where we covered it to hear what the remote viewing data said happened and comment whether you think it was real.
Well, then we'll go ahead and talk about the Mandela effect and freak the heck out.
Yeah, that's true. But that's a thing, though.
That's a thing. Yeah.
Ed McMahon was definitely holding those checks up, John.
I know he was.
You know, I want these things to be real, everybody. It's just they're not. But don't worry.
Don't worry. Don't
worry. There's a couple
worrying.
things here that are going to blow your mind. Keep watching. I really want to do the legs with no body. This is so weird. It's just so weird. This has been everywhere. I think it's been all over online. It's been on Paranormal Caught on Camera. Of course, everything on Paranormal Caught on Camera is real. Otherwise, they wouldn't, according to them, otherwise they wouldn't have a show. But a lot of these videos have been on Paranormal Caught on Camera, and no one really caught what we're catching. Let's watch this video. There it is. What the heck? That's got to be CGI, dude. Like, that is the only explanation for those wacky legs. I think this was in South America somewhere, I believe, Peru or something like that. I can't remember the exact country, so don't quote me on that. But I've seen this multiple times on multiple different channels. Paranormal Caught on Camera is one of them. It is a mysterious video. I mean, the little rabbit, obviously somebody's filming the rabbit, and I think what's intriguing about this video is the extremely normal circumstances in which they're videoing whatever it is. It looks very local, meaning they're just out there filming the rabbit with their son or whatever, and they catch something on camera that they weren't supposed to, kind of, right? Paranormal Caught on Camera will go into like, well, in that area of the world, there are these things they call whatever, they'll find something. But what was your take on this video when you initially saw it?
Oh, it was funny. I thought it was funny. It was hilarious.
It is funny.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. It's like if something like that is 100% real, it's gonna happen in some weird South American country. It's just that's where that stuff happens.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, what do you think? Is there any reality here, or is this a CGI?
It's CGI. Yeah,
100%, right?
Yeah. Oh, I could do that. That's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the data was saying. Yeah, it's CGI. But I could do that. It's so easy because you have a static background, and you just mask out the body, top part of the body, and then you bring the background back. It's all you do. Like, it's super, super easy.
You know what this episode is pointing out to me so far? How
that
easy
things on the internet you shouldn't believe?
Yes, but no, more than that. How easy it would be for a nefarious organization to create clips like this and send them out for psychological operation purposes.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
because there is real stuff out there, but these are not so far.
Right.
All right, move on to the next one. I want to get to the finale, which will actually leave some mystery in people's minds here. Next is, I think, the most confusing video that I've seen almost ever. When this happened and this went viral, I was shocked at what was being said out loud, what had been revealed out loud, that normally I am imagining is much more tight-lipped and only happens behind closed doors. I'm going to set the stage here. The Queen had just passed away. Okay, this is the Queen of England, and her funeral was being televised. And accidentally, during a live feed, a hot mic was left on, and someone's voice came over, and it was recorded, and this went viral. Let's play this clip.
Death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see here in London, it is a lovely day.
Okay, so now we can hear a whisper of someone who's talking, and then all of a sudden the news host's voice comes over and starts to overpower her voice. It's much louder. The whisper says, and I quote, "The death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped." The death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped. We're waiting to hear the rest, and then the voice takes over, and we lose the rest of it. That's super bizarre.
The death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see,
I mean, think about all of the types of conspiracy theories that would come out just from those few words that were hot mic'd. The death is irreversible, meaning they have been keeping her from dying, or that death is reversible, first of all. Second, and the fact that she's trapped where? She's dead. So now we're talking about her soul, or her consciousness is trapped somewhere, which you could speculate all kinds of things, like are there rituals being done behind closed doors, occult rituals that are done to capture the souls of these kings and queens and then transfer them into new bodies that then become kings and queens again somewhere else? I mean, we could go on and on and on about how fascinating that is if this is true. If that sounds a bit out there so far, this conversation is no disrespect to the queen or her family at the funeral. It's just a viral clip that went around claiming her death was irreversible. So we did what we do on this show by remote viewing what happened and sharing with you all of the crazy data. Disclaimer there. So if you're like, why are we talking about occult rituals and the queen like it's legit? Well, there's some historical context here that we're trying to go over. And I think this is why it went viral, is because people feel like there are things going on throughout the centuries with kings and queens that have been governing different countries. There's all kinds of speculation of occult happenings going on, not just because people are think that these are conspiracies. There are easily researched themes that go on with all of the different kings' courts and different things. I mean, they bring in magi's all the time. You've got Queen Victoria, I believe it was, with John Dee. Yeah, John Dee was a famous, very famous magician / alchemist, I guess you could say. Alchemist is more of it. He's looking for the Sorcerer's Stone, essentially, trying to turn precious metals into gold, looking for immortality. Lots and lots of kings and queens have been interested in finding immortality in order to escape death, in order to stay in power longer. And we've got all kinds of examples of that throughout history. Then you've got Rasputin over in Russia, which, some accuse of causing the downfall of the Romanov Empire. So these are easily found in history. So an occult explanation for this is not necessarily crazy. It could be.
The death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
as you can see,
Are they doing these things? Is it not kosher, so they don't tell us about them? We've heard all kinds of stories, crazy, fantastic stories throughout history. But here we have some type of evidence of it, potentially, that all of that is true, and we're not crazy, and we're not being gaslit. So what was your reaction to this video, first of all, John, and then I'd love to hear your remote viewing data on it.
No, I thought it was really fascinating. It was interesting. It just stokes this, exactly what you said. Like, wow, were they trying to somehow transfer their body into or transfer her soul into a new body, and it didn't work or something?
Yeah.
On the technical side of like the magical things that they do, right? In those behind those closed doors, like the Pope disappearing, right? Yeah, in part one of Glitches in the Matrix, we talked about a viral clip where the Pope seemed to vanish into thin air as he turned away from the window. Now, was that a hologram? Was that a hologram of the popes, or was this some kind of edited video or something entirely different?
Yes.
So that was, I was like, wow, that just is interesting. Yeah, that's really pretty much what I thought. And I thought the voice was so bizarre, somber, like, or just, it had a little bit of an edge of like, oh no.
That death is irreversible, and the fact that she's
As you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So
Well,
that's
and
what,
it's easy to get fooled by acting or something.
right.
Okay. I mean, look at the Area 51 caller that you and I had an
Right.
entire episode on. This guy was very emotional. It sounded real. And yet we go in there and, I don't want to reveal everything, but there's more going on in that story than
Right.
you'd think,
Right.
just based off of what you're hearing. But that was a very specific case of someone calling into a show. There's a lot more of a chance of there being, something going on there. Whereas
But
this is a
the other
live
thing
feed.
too, it's like, okay, so then you'd have to think is, well, where's that mic? Because what you're hearing is you're hearing just the reporter, which is going to be in a different location in the studio somewhere. And that's going to be on, the car moving is going to be on camera being filmed. And he's just going to be like, the sports commentator. And, the Queen's limo is, the hearse is moving along, that's what it is. So unless they're doing the ritual in the BBC studio or wherever it is, it's just not going to show up on their audio, right? Like, which is weird. So you have to think of that too. It's like, okay, well, where did that voice come from?
Where did the voice come from? And okay, let's talk this through, because the implications of this are that someone who is very close to the Queen or very high up has a hot mic on or a mic near them. So this is a very important person. And they are whispering to someone else near a mic in the studio or around the studio or in the car. We don't know, because we didn't watch the entire clip or the entire, funeral procession. So this is not a normal person to have a microphone near them or on them in order for this mistake to happen.
Right.
We could make that jump, I think. And it's much less. I mean, how often do people interfere with news feeds? Never.
Right.
We never see anyone interfering with a news feed or taking over a feed and replacing it with something else. That never happens. That's happened maybe once throughout history, and it was Ashtar in, Britain ages ago. And that's using
Right.
satellites. So we don't
Right.
know,
Right.
That's a whole other rabbit hole itself. We're not going to get into that now.
Right.
But okay. So you're already thinking this is really interesting.
Right. Yeah, I thought
because
it was
you watched the clip just like I did, right? Now, tell me the process of you going through and getting this thing remote viewed and lay it on me.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
All right, so I viewed on this one as well. Like I viewed this too. The queen was deceased, obviously, right? Which presents weird situations for remote viewers, just in general, because that's the one thing that you do know: the queen has died, and so you're going to run into that spirit during the session. Now, think of a person who has everything that they could ever imagine, everything they could want, everybody at their beck and call for their whole life. And now think of that person when they die and they've not necessarily prepared for death.
Yeah, and their soul lives on. Their body is gone.
And all they had in their whole life is cush luxury. Like living living as a god, right? In a sense, like they're living as she was the queen. She got everything she wanted. Why would she want to leave? Why would she want to leave? So she was angry. So in the space after she died, which is a space that's really closely like connected to physical reality,
Sort of
like
like
a
the upside down kind of
yeah,
thing.
like a degree off of it, she's right
Purgatory.
there and
Yeah.
she's going, reverse this. I want to go back. You reverse like I get everything I want. I get everything I want. Get me back now. It's a command,
Hmm.
right? Somebody is telling her the death is irreversible. She trapped herself by her mental state when she died. And then going into that space, she trapped herself in the ghost realm. In the ghost realm, she wouldn't move on. She's angry, just standing there like shivering in anger, right? So what you're hearing, this seems to be, is that what you're hearing is it seems to be in the data. I can't be 100% sure, but in the data, this seems to be a effing primo EVP,
Yeah. Explain what that is to those at home.
an electronic voice phenomena, where people who do ghost hunting will bring recorders with them, and they'll ask questions, and then they'll listen to the recorder because it's a frequency that will show. Will you won't necessarily hear it with your ears, but you will hear it with the recorder. A frequency that will encode sound on a recorder. Sometimes you can hear it with your ears. Sometimes it can be loud enough that you can't, but most often it's louder in the recording. And that's how people will work on communicating with spirits. And you'll play it back and you'll hear it talking on that. So
Mm.
what it appears to be is a primo EVP.
That death is irreversible and the fact that she's
As you
trapped.
can see,
If not, now, if it's not that, this is what it seems to be in the data. If it's not that, then for some reason there is some type of psychic that is probably on hot mic, or a person who is a psychic that was working with the with whoever was in the studio, maybe off to the side, and they were on hot mic. So one of those two things, because it was literally like, because if it was that, this person was completely aware and feeling where she was and what she was doing and what she was complaining about. But so it's like it's the person or being was also talking to her, right? It was also talking to her, trying to tell her, no, this is irreversible. You can't go back, because she's yelling for them to reverse it.
So so who is the woman talking to then? The woman is
So
explaining this to someone else.
most likely this was, at least in part, telling her that, saying, no, Queen Mother, the death is irreversible.
Hmm.
Bring me back, bring me back. No, the death is irreversible. You're trapped now. Or she's trapped. The death is irreversible. She's trapped.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
You get it?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but there's so many more questions I have now because, the death
It
is
didn't have to
irreversible.
do with like, oh no, she got stuck in the bioambulator, and her soul didn't go through the suction into the other body, fast enough.
Right.
And so now she's stuck in the drain there and we can't get her out.
That's a great way of explaining it. Right, right. So but okay, but this is strange because she's still there. She's still and and she's still there and she hasn't moved on.
Well, so when we view this, we're viewing it at that moment that the voice happened. And so even there's no time, right? So even if I view it at the moment that it happened, I can get a reaction and have that spirit even if the spirit did move on, I can have the reaction from the spirit in that moment, and it will still interact with me and be aware of me.
I see. That's how it works.
Yeah, because there's no time. I am going to the moment that happened,
Right.
not now. So I didn't experience her now. I don't know what she's doing now. I don't want to know. I mean, this can be somewhat of a normal occurrence. So this, because in that place, this entity is like in this in between state, this in between place of being attached to their life, which is what she was, and wanting to be. I command you to put me back, kind of thing. I get everything I want, and angry about not getting what they want. They're in a very agitated state. And if they see other beings, humans, whatever, come to them, they're like somewhat of a light uh, um, that they can see, because they just
Mm-hmm.
came from the realm of the physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't necessarily see some type of angelic being trying to guide them off, because they're still super attached to the physical, and they would see another human like looking at them psychically. And so that's what she saw. So she came over here for a bit, sort of like, just you could feel her in the room, the anger, the agitation. And it persisted for a while until I was like, getting it to move on, getting it to move out. Now, I don't know what she did after that, but it was literally about like, go to the light, move to the light, just move along, go that way. Don't hang out here. There's nothing for you here. The death is irreversible. Go with it.
Mm. Wow. So that was some legit stuff
That was
that
legit. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, a legit. Oh man, that's gosh, there's so many more questions too. Like, why are there psychics hanging around with?
So that was the thing with the data. I couldn't tell 100% if this was like a super EVP. I'm leaning more towards the EVP
No
side.
way, dude. That was a British woman.
I know,
That
but there
was
was
she's in a
something in the
car or
data about
something.
like interference in the signal. That was like literally like, okay, so just so everybody knows, sometimes remote viewing data is interpretable in different directions, right? And this is one of those cases. So it can be interpreted as something on her. Well, it was talking. So if there's a psychic there, it was also talking to her, trying to tell her, communicate with her about how her death is irreversible, because what she was doing was literally screaming about reversing it.
I
Right.
get all of that. I get it. I get why a spirit would be really upset, especially in her circumstances, having that much like comfort, luxury, all of that stuff. Got it, got it, got it. We are told that, kings, queens, the royal families do not really partake in woo-woo stuff. And yet we've got woo-woo stuff happening around them. Right? Because my perspective on this is there's no way that's an EVP. How often do EVPs break signal into new? Never happens. 0 times it
Yeah.
happens. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's one. Two, it sounds like more on the psychic route of someone who, or a channeler,
Yeah.
but then this
Logically. Absolutely.
logically,
Yeah.
but then this channeler would
And
have to
that's
have
logically where I would go too. Yeah.
right.
But there are
And
some indications in the data suggesting this is EVP, or meant to cross over that veil boundary. That's because that was a big thing about this, right? A big thing.
they're trying to figure out what to do, what state the queen's in. But the fact that there would be a channeler or a psychic on hand that's having those conversations and doing that and communicating, that alone is super bizarre, according
That's
to
why.
how we
That's
understand it.
also why I go toward EVP, as impossible as it sounds.
But why? Because the families would have that stuff around. They
But
historically
the
they
family
have had
wouldn't be in the studio. They wouldn't be in
true.
the BBC studio, right?
Unless the hot mic was on people
Somebody
that
in
were
the
at the
funeral.
funeral
Yeah.
and they were in the car going somewhere and this was a top 8 or something like that, right? That
Maybe.
you don't
Yeah.
know about, behind the
Right.
scenes person.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah. I could imagine that they would have somebody trailing along in the funeral procession who is like psychically like really tuning in to what's going on with her in general.
Yeah.
I could imagine that for sure, because half of this whole thing was this person or being, whatever it was, communicating to the queen. It wasn't to another person. It was to her, telling her, no, you can't go back. It's irreversible.
She said the fact that she's trapped. She was explaining it to someone else, logically speaking.
That death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see.
So it's like, you can't go back. It's irreversible. And then saying, hey, to somebody next to you, she's trapped. Right?
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah. The death is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going back and forth here, right?
Right. And she was trapped in her own mind in ghost realm because she didn't want to let go. Yeah.
Bizarre. Easily the most bizarre one. I mean, obviously the
most bizarre one.
Yeah. Okay, now again, this conversation is no disrespect to the queen or her family at the funeral. This is just a viral clip that went around claiming her death was irreversible. So we did what we do on this show by remote viewing what happened and sharing with you all of the crazy data. Don't shoot the messengers, okay? All right, well, you guys at home, let us know what you think about us doing the debunking and research around whether or not these videos that have gone viral, these glitch videos, are legit or not. We'd love to know what you guys think. Leave your comments below here, and we hope you thought this episode was as out of this world as we did. We'll be doing this from time to time where we go through videos and try to tell you guys what's going on. We hope you liked this metaphysical episode. Remember to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. If you like what we do and want more, we couldn't end this conversation here because it goes way deeper than this. If you want to hear the rest of this bonus content, you can subscribe to the Mystery Junkie tier or higher on the metaphysical.tv. That will get you access to exclusive metaphysical episodes, director cuts, and topics you won't see anywhere else. Plus, your subscription to the metaphysical.tv also gets you about 1,000 more episodes on mysteries, ancient civilizations, cryptids, UFOs, and other awesome topics. You can also get a bag of delicious metaphysical coffee if you want your mornings to be interstellar, or metaphysical merch so everyone knows how much you like Bigfoot. Thanks so much for your support, and we hope you thought this episode was out of this world.